It's August 9th, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're gonna go quickly through the garden and talk about putting some of the garden areas to bed or getting them ready for fall planting. I am gonna leave these pepper plants because they're still putting on peppers. I got a nice little harvest yesterday morning of peppers to use in a lovely little stir fry. I have also picked a tomato hornworm off the pepper plants. The morning glories are facing east. Even though the vines have gotten straggly, they're still putting on flowers, and I am dropping seeds from the seed pods right where they stand. This pot of green beans is going to come out. I'll harvest the rest of the beans. And then 3 weeks ago, I planted some more. These are bush beans, green beans in this little tub, and they are doing quite well. So hopefully I can get a late season crop of green beans out of this little plastic tub. Most probably, the remainder of everything in the straw bales is going to come out. The tomato plants do have some blooms on them, but our heat has been so intense, and I didn't realize this until I read it, saw it on another gardening blog, that when the heat gets this high, the pollen in the flowers can actually be rendered sterile. So we have a little tiny tomato. I'm not sure how much bigger that's going to get right there. The watermelon, this is that sugar baby watermelon, is doing quite well and actually is using the tomato plant to climb up. That was kind of hysterical to me. We have a determinate tomato here that I would pull out, except that the watermelon is using the tomato plant as a support and actually has set another little fruit that is about, well, it's bigger than golf ball size but smaller than baseball. And we still have some sugar baby melons growing here in this pot. They hide. So at last count, I think I'm going to get about 5 melons out of this pot, although they're continuing to bloom. So I don't know if they're going to keep on producing melons and how long into the fall I'd have to grow those out. As you can see, this pot is just covered up with vines. I may use this pot next year for more melons because I don't think I want to move it, and this is a good sun location. And since my zucchini had been such a failure in the bales because of insufficient sun, I went ahead and tried the planting of some more zucchini seeds in my compost bin with just a couple of inches of soil over the compost, and these plants are loving it, and this is a good sun position for these straw bales. Will have a I think I'm going to use corrugated metal around them to make this into a flower planting bed for next year, and I'm going to try to increase my pollinator loving plants in this straw bale area. This should be excellent growing medium. Some of it, this bale in the front has just about collapsed, and you can see that is just making really good dirt soil. It's making really good soil, so that should be wonderful for the flowers. I can't decide whether to go ahead and put the bay tree in the ground or not. I did move it over here so it's semi-shaded under this canopy of this Japanese maple, but it is getting good sunlight, and I may go ahead and plant it in the straw bales. Planning for next year. I've put a bunch of cardboard down. This is a very sunny location, so what I'm going to do is put straw bales right out here. I'm going to go 3 deep. I need some more cardboard right there. And we're going to turn. We're going to have 3 more straw bales along here. And then my plan is for these half whiskey barrels to be used for pepper plants, or maybe 1 for peppers and 1 for eggplant, because I'd really love to grow some little mini eggplant. And then this box over here would be sufficient for 2 more pepper plants. The sweet banana peppers have just done incredibly well this year. And so here we are at the gourds. The gourd vines are already starting to die back, even with supplemental water and fertilizing. So I'm just going to let them go ahead and die back, and we'll harvest the gourds that we have, I think in probably late fall. I'll go ahead and cut them down off the vines, because next year's plan has been a little bucket brigade here under this trellis for tomatoes. It's a good sunny location. It is on the north, so they shouldn't create a bunch of shade for these pots. I've watched the sun patterns all summer over here, and the pots and the new straw bales should get plenty of sun, but the gourds have been a lot of fun to grow. I don't have to repeat that though, I don't think, because they do take up a lot of valuable real estate that I would rather devote to tomatoes. So I plan 5 tomato buckets of indeterminate varieties along this trellis, and then I'll have a couple of more 5-gallon buckets that I'll probably put out here in the sun on the cardboard with a determinate tomato in each one. Okay, now this bale is also about to collapse under its own weight. We're in the front yard now. Got flowers in it this year, and some black sweet potato vine, but this one is going to be made into a little dedicated strawberry bed. I understand that strawberries will just absolutely take over a garden bed, so I'm just going to let them have one of their own. This is what happens when you fling a packet of wildflower seeds onto some earth, smush them down with a shovel, and keep them moist until they germinate. Now, these 4-foot tall, 5-foot tall zinnias, most gardeners would say should go in the back of the bed, but I kind of like letting nature take its course. They call this a common zinnia. I do not understand how anybody can call that kind of beauty common. And I'm loving these little asters. I've got some little purple and lilac ones here, and then some pale pink ones. Now, some people call spiderwort a weed. I let it sprawl and do whatever it wants in my flower beds. And yes, there are a bunch of weeds in here that need to get pulled out, particularly before they set seed. But the spiderwort will not get pulled out. That just looks like the happiest little face. on that flower.